push it, the little green light goes on.
Thank you, Jerry. I will call tonight's meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Miss Jerry Lynn, will you take roll call, please?
Member Roller.
Slightly present.
Member Seamers.
Present.
Member Haddock.
Present.
Member Haddishell.
Present.
Member Lewis.
Here.
Chairman Harris.
Present.
Mr. Manson is absent and Mr. Eastwood are absent tonight.
That's correct. I will make a motion or move that we adopt tonight's agenda, striking item number 9 and moving that to next month since we're missing a couple of members. All right, I have a first and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Mr. Roller will not be, his vote will not be counted this evening. I'll move to accept the minutes from the May 27th, 2014 meeting. Second, I have a second. Any discussion, any changes? All in favor?
I guess I'll abstain since.
That's fine. One abstention? One abstention for Mr. Haddock. Thank you, ma'am. Do we have any public comment this evening? Seeing one public in the crowd? All right, public's good. Seeing Mr. Eastwood is not here tonight, we will move on from the committee reports. Staff reports. Mr. McLean.
Thank you, sir. Well, if you had a chance to read the packet, I highlighted a few things. One being that our recreation baseball and softball league is about to wrap up. Next Tuesday right now is our last day, which is hopefully the final day without any other rain delays, but I will be happy to say that in this recreation league we only had 3 days of rainouts this year. With all the rain we have had, the fields and the upgrades we did to those infields prior to the start of the season have gone over very well. We are working on starting up our adult men's softball and co-ed softballs leagues, so those are rolling out. We will be starting men's this Sunday, and then co-ed will be after the 4th of July, the week after the 4th of July. Did do some work with the South Metro group, which is South Metro Sports Group, which is the group of cities that we all share play sports in. Also assisted with helping Pleasant Hill fill their position of recreation supervisor. They were short a person, and I represented the South Metro Sports Group in that process, and they did hire somebody and got somebody in there that is started this week actually. So we will, of course, anybody in the group is willing to help those guys out, but that is a good position to have and get filled, so that way we're all working and maximizing our use in this group effort to maximize the participation levels in our leagues. We also have been working with the Tournament of Champions group that host tournaments out here. We had 3 weekends in a row. All of them went very well. We have this weekend, we actually, starting Thursday, we have a group coming out, senior softball tournament, so senior group. Special events, fishing derby was held on June 14th with a very good turnout, as well as this last weekend, Arts in the Park. Both of those events went well and were well attended. And then Summer Quest to wrap up. We're averaging about 75 participants. We went to Worlds of Fun last week, a movie the first week. Burr Oak Woods is coming up, so staff is continuing to prep for trips and daily events and activities, but it is a literally full house at the Park House. So that's all I have.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, I'm maybe out of order here. The soccer, where are we at with getting soccer back on our fields?
Competitive soccer, you mean? Competitive soccer, I am still working on that. We are looking at going our own direction on that. We are not, right now, we are not entertaining any ideas of leasing that out, which has been brought to us before. And so we are looking at providing our own program. Right now, I would say I would have more information for the July meeting, because I have a couple meetings set up in the next 2 weeks after the 4th of July that will allow me to know a specific direction that we are going to go. And I will have a better idea at that time. But I would prefer that we do something in-house, and that is the direction I'm looking at, and that's what I'm wanting to do. So I'm just seeing if we can get it all laid out.
Does that mean, if you want to do it in-house, does that mean that you would invite children or grown-ups or whatever, well, not grown-ups, teenagers from Belton and the surrounding communities, or will they continue with their own soccer leagues?
No, it'd be open to the public for team registration is what I would be looking at. Team tryout, team registration versus individual, like our recreation league. Individual recreation is individually signed up, and then you get placed on a team, where I'm looking at trying to put it to where teams can sign up through and card through Raymore.
Okay. And when does the soccer season usually start?
Fall, usually August, right? Towards the end of August or mid-August,
Okay.
somewhere in there.
So is there any
After
It's going to be
hope?
tough. It's going to be tough to have something for fall. I'm doing what I can do, but it is going to be tough for fall. If we don't, the soccer season is fall and spring.
Right.
And so a lot of times you don't start mid-season, which is a spring season, starting a new program at that time. Most organizations start their program starting in the fall, and it goes fall and spring. So working with that, it's going to be tough. Like I said, I'm going to try to do what I can do and see where we're at here. I'll know more at the July meeting.
Thank you.
Monique, just to clarify something, I think it was a misinterpretation. When he says doing it in-house, that means they're playing through Raymore Parks and Rec as the club, as opposed to another club that just leases our fields.
Right, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Any other questions for Mr. McLean?
Yeah, I have a question. So you're talking about starting a new football club for Raymore then? Just like,
It's
Yes.
soccer
Well,
here in the U.S.
Soccer.
excuse me,
yes.
sorry. But a new soccer club then? I mean, but that's what you're referring to, is starting a complete new club?
Yes.
Competitive club?
Yes.
Interesting, okay.
There's some history behind it. We'll talk about it after the meeting. Oh, okay. Anybody else? I have a question for you. And maybe you don't know this, maybe someone else knows this. How late did baseball go last year? You guys know?
In the
Kansas-
past, go ahead.
Usually it's done by the 4th of July.
It's usually done by the 4th, but I do know on the competitive program, they started 2 weeks early this year. And that is due to the fact that they wanted everybody done 2 weeks earlier so they could start the regional and state play. And that, to me, was kind of a mistake, but we don't set that. We just pretty much have to abide by those guidelines.
Well, the reason I ask is because I know we try to get baseball over by 4th of July every year so everybody can go on vacation.
Yes.
But I'm trying to determine how many less rainout days we had this year. Obviously, you can't predict the weather, but it seemed like we went after 4th of July last year.
I think we got it done by 4. There might have been 1 or 2 after games. We had 61 rainouts last year.
Games?
61 games. This year we've had 3 nights worth, and that's probably at the most it would have been 27 games. At the
20
most.
games.
So,
Nice. Good, good. I have heard, I've been out there several nights. I have heard good things about the fields. Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Rulo.
I also had submitted a written report in the packet. Just wanted to key on a couple things. As John said, we've had several tournaments out there, and the baseball crew has done an excellent job out there. We've heard nothing but good comments throughout the weekends while they're doing the fields from the coaches and the TOC guys running the tournaments. And basically, the park staff has been trying to keep up with all the rain, keeping everything mowed. We finally got caught back up last week, and I think the parks are starting to look like they should. And preparation for the 4th of July celebration has started. We'll start cleaning up Recreation Park more and more every week for the next week. And all the trees will be mulched, flower beds will be mulched, and everything will be looking pretty nice next Friday. So that's about all I got. I entertain any questions.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Which way are the fireworks going to be, and where are the people going to sit? We've in 2 or 3 years we've had different areas that we've used.
Well, I'm pretty sure we've always had the same areas. They'll be shooting from the east side down by the fire pit, which
Oh,
will be
okay.
it'll be on the southeast end of Recreation Park, behind the trees.
Uh-huh.
Everybody will be congregated. The band will be playing underneath the Optimist shelter,
Okay.
and everybody will be concentrated around that area.
Okay.
And then basically everybody will be looking towards the south end of the soccer fields. That's where the fireworks will be going up above the trees.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Rulo. Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to welcome Michelle Seamers, Melinda Howdyshell, and James Haddock to the board. It's great to have you guys, and I think you'll find we have a very good group, and needless to say, we have a lot going on, and there's a lot of projects we're going to be looking at in the next couple of years. Good time to be on the park board. I'd like to touch just a little bit about some of the projects that are going on. The Eagle Glen Trail, that is a project that is scheduled to be renovated this year. Basically, the asphalt path that goes along the Eagle Glen, along the little creek there that's behind the homes, is going to be removed, and a new concrete path is going to be placed. The bids came in quite a bit over what was budgeted for the project. The Public Works Director, Mike Crass, is working with the vendor to try to see if there's some engineering that could be done to lessen the amount of money that is needed to do this project. So I will keep you informed on this, but for the time being, the Eagle Glen Trail is not going to be done in a timely manner like we had hoped. We have a ball tournament this weekend. It's a little different. It's the Heart of America Senior Softball Tournament. It starts Thursday, runs through Sunday. We have teams as far away as Colorado that are participating in this tournament. It's a pretty big deal. We're hoping that they'll bring a lot of people with them and spend money in our community and use our facilities and just enjoy Raymore. We hope to still paint all the lines in the parking lot before the 4th of July. We have talked to the vendor. He feels he can schedule it, but obviously at this late point, it's very weather dependent upon what he is currently doing and whether or not he's able to get to ours. So we're hoping that'll happen. Over here to your left, our right, there's a Parks and Recreation Month calendar. July is the National Parks and Recreation Month nationwide. And staff has put together this calendar that has a different activity for each day of the month. And this is everything from picking up trash in a park, to going to a playground, to hiking on a trail, to attending the farmer's market. So I challenge anyone and everyone to try to do as many of these things on this calendar as you can. I don't expect anyone to do them all. Some of them we don't even offer in our community. You'd have to go somewhere else. But they're all outdoor activities. The idea is to get parents, children, adults outside. We have a deficit disorder in nature. There's a lot of kids that are not getting outside. The average child now spends 7.5 hours a day behind some type of a screen. And with that in mind, there is a real loss of kids getting outside and being active. And that's what we're trying to promote by doing this calendar and designating July as Parks and Recreation Month. Okay. The MOU draft that we're currently working on with the First Baptist Church of Raymore is now in the attorney's hands. They have done a second draft, from what I understand. It went from 2 pages to 10 pages, I've been told. That's what happens when attorneys get involved, I guess. So hopefully we will have something back to the church and to the board here in the relatively near future. Okay. Farmers Market tonight was great. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to attend this year, but I would strongly encourage you. Every week I'm amazed at how much we have as far as, how many we have as far as vendors, and then also people in the community that are attending. And I find this interesting because right now a lot of the vendors do not have their homegrown vegetables. They are still showing up, they're still selling things, but they do not have their own home, because tomatoes aren't up yet. I mean, they just aren't ready to be sold or picked and sold. Sweet corn's not available. There's some few things like kale and some of those things, but I guess what I'm saying is I think it's only going to get better as the summer progresses and more fruits and vegetables become available. The Trails Master Plan. As some of you know, we funded $8,000 to do a citywide Trails Master Plan. This is an addition of our existing master plan that was done in 2007. The vendor that we've hired, the consultant, will be looking at our existing trails, their conditions, how they've held up and where they go. They'll also be looking at, as Raymore builds out, new developments come online, where we might anticipate of expanding our trail system within our city limits. And thirdly, they will be looking at connectivity to other communities. Belton, Grandview, Lee Summit, some of the communities right around us, even as far as possibly the Katy Trail that eventually will be picked up over at Pleasant Hill. They will try to work with us to help future connections to these trails and other communities. Very excited about this. It'll be something that that the Park Board is involved in as it progresses, and I think this is something that we will definitely want to put into our CIP as time progresses. That's really about all I have at this point. I would entertain any questions that you might have.
Any questions for Mr. Kennedy? No? No? Thank you, sir. All right, we'll move on to old business. We only have one topic tonight, and that is a renewal of the smoking policy. In September of 2013, we approved a ordinance change to push for recommendation to City Council. And if everybody looked at their packet, basically we're just changing one section, subset 2 of section 270.050, which is the section is prohibition of smoking in outdoor areas. Currently it says it is prohibited in the following outdoor places. Outdoors arenas, stadiums, skate parks, ball fields, and amphitheaters, except in designated smoking areas, which may be established only in perimeter areas at least 100 feet from any seating areas or concession stands. Smoking shall also be prohibited in and within 100 feet of bleachers and grandstands for use by spectators at sporting and other public events. Currently at our fields, you can go down the sidelines of the fences and you can smoke. And we also have smoking along our trails. I guess that's where the biggest complaint is. People are on the trails and they're smoking. What we tried to do is change it, Section 2, to say smoking shall be prohibited in all Raymore parks with the exception of paved parking areas within the park boundaries. Basically, we said, hey, you can smoke at your car. You know, let's not have it by the kids. Let's not have it in the parks. Let's not have it in the trails. Let's not have it at the playgrounds. So, you know, it's part of setting a good example for healthy living, which is kind of what we do as a board. In September 2013, we approved it, sent it to City Council. It passed on their first reading and failed, I believe, with a tie on their second reading. There was a council member missing. So, with that being said, we've had some turnover here, we've had some turnover there, and I just figured it's time. We're trying to get people out in July. Let's show a little initiative on our part and push us back up again and see what's going on. So I don't know if anybody's interested in this or not. Obviously, 3 of you are new to this whole thing and have never seen it before, but you know, that's why I brought it forward again, brought it up again.
I guess I have to keep going.
I have a question. What was their hesitation? Why would they vote no? I'm missing something.
To be honest, I have no idea. I can't believe anybody did, to be honest. I didn't hear.
It's strictly rights of the public to do what they want to do. And it's like Brian said, it had passed fairly easy the first time around, and then the second time around with that one person missing.
And you know, enforcement always becomes an issue with things like this. Well, how are you really going to enforce it? And when we talked about that, because we had that same issue, was, are we really going to call the cops because somebody's lighting up with a cigarette? And it's more of allowing our staff members to say, hey, there's no smoking here. You know, you need to go do it in the parking lot. Not that we're going to call the cops and say, hey, somebody's smoking here at Field 6. Call the cops. And that's not really the intent, although it could happen because it is a city ordinance. It's the same way if somebody smoked in a restaurant. You know, what can you really do? You call the cops. So, and so I think enforcement was part of the issue. How are you really going to enforce it? Well, you don't. You kind of hope people just follow the rules for the most part. I mean, but it does give a little backbone to the police department if there does become an issue and somebody does get disgruntled and raises a stir. It's not just somebody saying, you know, put that out and you just relieve some tension, I think.
We would post it with the new rules or guidelines if this is passed by the park board and maybe the council. And yeah, enforcement, we've talked to the chief of police and they said, we would recommend that you first approach the patron and ask them to please extinguish their cigarette. And if they do not, by all means, contact us and we will do what's necessary because it would be against the law.
So it would be posted on the trailheads and at each trailhead then?
We would, I don't know how specifically we would post it on the trails. That is not something that has been discussed at this time.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
the way you have it written here, that means that number 2 would be replaced by,
That is correct.
and I prefer that.
Yes.
I think the one that is written is so complicated. I
Yes.
think the second part, you know, smoking shall be prohibited in all Raymore parks with the exception of paved parking areas within the park boundaries. I think it's very clear.
Well, and you should have heard the first time we tried to write this thing up, and it got pretty convoluted. And I think Mr. Kinney brought up, says, well, they say it's prohibited everywhere except paved parking spots.
Yeah,
It got real simple real quick after that.
yeah.
We did have it pretty convoluted, I think, for a while. It was 4 paragraphs. I say that in jest, but it was big.
Brian,
Yeah.
this is a national trend too. I see stuff almost every day of park systems that are addressing this and talking about it, and it's strictly due to health, secondhand smoke.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
So this would allow smoking within 100 feet of a ball field if you were in the parking lot. Because our
That's
parking
correct.
lots are easily closer than 100 feet. So I'm for it. My only question is, do we want to allow smoking within 100 feet of a ball field in a parking lot?
Yes. I mean, well,
Okay,
I
and
mean, this
maybe-
ordinance says
Maybe
that.
maybe that gets too complicated and more difficult to put on a sign, and I understand that.
The
Yes.
issue, sir, is if you're in your personal car, sitting in the parking lot, and granted, if you are within 100 feet waiting to pick up your child or whatever it may be, I don't think we could ever have the right to tell someone, you need to put the cigarette out in your car. It's not impacting the public at that point, so that's
But on
why-
the flip side, I think his question is, if somebody's just standing at the curb at the edge of the parking lot in Rec Park that's, I don't know, 30 feet from the playground, you know, are we allowing that? And by this ordinance, we would be allowing that.
Right, because that's not what it says. It says in the parking lot, it doesn't say in your car,
That's correct.
so.
But John's thought was, because we were gonna outlaw it in city parks, period, and be done with it. And then the thought says, well, what if somebody's sitting in their car smoking? What are you gonna do then? Yeah, what can we do, really?
But then,
And so-
can't you just rely back on I'm just not gonna, we're not gonna go there, we're not gonna deal with that? I mean, we're not gonna tell somebody,
Yeah,
I guess at some point, you have to give the public a little credit for hopefully common sense. I mean, I
the
know
rule as far as I can.
most people, if you have a rule that says this is a smoke-free area, will honor that. I've yet to see anyone, I've been in a restaurant that has smoking areas and non-smoking areas. I don't see anybody smoking in the non-smoking areas. And I know Kansas, they passed it, there is no smoking areas in restaurants and bars and stuff. And there was a lot of objections, but anymore, you just do not see it. It's peer pressure. So I guess I'm hoping that's the same issue that will be enforced here.
Mr. Chairman, one question. Does anybody know if Belton has this in effect with their parks? Well, just to kind of reinforce the posting the signs, I know we were at some ball games this weekend and there was a gentleman smoking like right behind us, right near the boys' dugout. And if we did proceed on this, which I hope we do, that we do seriously look at figuring out how do we put signage up that properly lets the public know.
we have signage currently by our parks, walking in, that says no smoking allowed in the playing area or the ball field area.
It actually,
area.
In the
on
public areas.
on the dugouts, it actually has this stated, this city ordinance, no smoking, this city ordinance with that number. So that way anybody can look it up. It's on the dugouts.
Oh, that's
So maybe just take a second look at it, maybe see how, if people are even seeing that. Maybe it's just a simple little, cigarette with a little red X through it or something of that nature. Because I think Belton might have something similar, and I didn't notice it, and the person was, smoking their cigarette right there, so.
Thank you, sir.
You want a motion to adopt it?
Gonna need one.
I move we adopt, I move we amend section 270.050 prohibition of smoking in outdoor areas by revising item 2 with smoking, replacing item 2 with smoking shall be prohibited in all Raymore parks with the exception of paved parking areas within the park boundaries.
Second.
All right, first and second. Any discussion? And just so we're aware, this is a recommendation to city council to make the change, because we're not allowed, just so we're aware. All in favor? There you go. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, we skipped item 9 and, or removed item 9, sorry. We'll see that coming up next month. And take a look at your package, just a touch note on it. We have in the past, and it's kind of dwindled out a little bit, but as Mr. Kennedy put on there, we had a grounds committee, a recreation committee, and it was called a CIP/budget committee. And that's Mr. Kennedy's recommendations to bring those committees back up, maybe get a smaller subset of people to do some of the legwork before it comes to the full board. But we'll be talking about that next month. Any board member comment this evening? Yes, ma'am.
First, I would like to welcome Melinda and Michelle and Jim. I hope that they bring lots of new ideas to how we can function as a board and how we can function with the council members. We do have meetings with the council members every quarter, and that allows us to tell them what we think, and they tell us what they think. We just had a council meeting. We just had a meeting with the council, so it'll be in about 3 months' time. But welcome. I would also like to say that I went to Arts in the Park on the Saturday morning, and I was surprised to see so many people. I would have liked to have seen much more. I would have liked to have seen more people showing their arts. But for the first time, I thought it was excellent. And I did enjoy the Irish with their violins and songs. I thought that was pretty neat. By the way, in my packet, I enjoyed the calendar of the month that was in there. And I thought it was pretty good. Gave me some ideas. So that's good. Thank you so much for putting it in. And that's it.
Thank you, Monique. Anybody else? Yeah, yes, Mr. Ex-Board Member Roller, please.
Thank you. First, I wanted to say that I spoke to a colleague this weekend from the zoning board and wanted to pass along to everyone that he felt that the Hawkridge Park planning and how we went out to the Raymore Festival and then how much communication there was with that, he thought it was excellent. So to pass along that outside sources respect all that communication that goes on and things of like, you know, even that calendar piece right there, just letting the public know it. And he really liked us being present at the Raymore Park as well, for the festival in the park, excuse me. And I also wanted to say thank you very much to everybody for letting me serve. In particular, I mean, the park staff, for those that don't know, work incredibly hard. I know Steve has done so much, Jerry, and then John coming on recently, Kennedy and McLean. But I've seen some very positive improvements in some things, and the energy that John's brought with has been fantastic. So I know you guys don't get enough praise because you've got pretty short on resources, and it's pretty impressive what you're able to do with so little. And thank you to the park board who I've served with. Brian's done an excellent job kind of leading things. I know you do a lot behind the scenes that people don't see. So thank you. Thank you, Monique, for being an ever-present force within the community. So that's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Roller. Anybody else? No? No? I would like to thank Mr. Roller for your time. What, 3 years? Has it been 3 years? A little over 3? I think you've finished filling somebody's term. Man, that's gone quick, to be quite honest, now that I think about it. Very fast. But thank you very much for serving. It is a selfless position up here, but we are not very selfless. You new people, it's great. It is great. Michelle and Just Jim. I think I'm going to call you Just Jim because everybody calls you James. And he goes, Just Jim. Just Jim. And Melinda, thank you very much for coming on board. Old school. Monique, old school because she served a long time, not because of her age. And myself have been here a while, and then we got some young blood in between that mix. I think, like she was saying, I think different thoughts from our thoughts, historical thoughts and new thoughts. So I think it'll work out great. That's really all I got this evening. Stay for a minute because I do have a question for you, but that's it. If nobody else has any other, you're good. Just Jim's good. Good. That nickname will stick, by the way.
One last thought, please.
Yes, ma'am.
I am looking forward to the fireworks, and I'm bringing my family. So I went to the one in Lee Summit last year, and I want this summer to be better.
It should be.
$21,000 worth of fireworks in 23 minutes.
What'd you say?
We're spending $16,000, but we're getting $21,000 worth of fireworks that we're gonna shoot up in 23 minutes.
23 minutes.
So
So
I guarantee
basically
it will be very-
$1,000 a minute, right?
Thanks for putting that out, Mr. Chairman.
No, I'm just saying. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't even spend $10 on fireworks, but 2 sparklers and snakes don't go very long either. That has to be a really long sparkler to go 23 minutes. I do have a question for you though, Jerry Lynn. Maybe you can answer this. The calendar, has that been put on the Facebook page yet? Is an individual link from our site to share on Facebook to let everybody see it?
It is on the city's website. You can get it that way.
Okay.
It will be on Facebook, and it will be sent out to everyone that's on Rec Track when we get a little closer to July.
Okay. Okay. I want to be able to share that and challenge my Facebook friends to do it. And those things go viral pretty quick when
I
you start
want
doing
to see
things
you
like
play
that.
Duck, Duck, Goose.
I read that when I started to giggle. Right as I read, I go, oh, duck, duck, goose. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, Monique again.
I'm sorry, I do have
That's
another
okay.
question. Where are we at with the disc golf? Have we ordered?
Yes. I was going to give a short report, so thank you, Monique. We have ordered. They will be in next week. I did check yesterday, and the baskets will be in next week. They came today?
Are they installed yet?
The baskets are here. I checked it. Okay. Our plan is to work with Eric, and after the 4th of July, when things kind of slow down a little bit, to work on the front 9. Okay. We won't have the concrete pads probably right away, but we can at least start some of the baskets in their location. We will not do the back 9 though until probably late fall, winter, and hopefully have it ready to play by spring.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, if I
Okay.
ask something else, I'm not sure that it's a good idea. I want to know where we are at with Hawkridge Park. Are we going to be able to put in a trail around the lake? And are we going to think about a dog park?
I think, I don't mean to interrupt, Brian.
That's okay. I don't know who she was asking. She was looking at you and then she looked at me.
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. Both of you, I want an answer.
There's a couple things, Monique, as we talked about in the work session, that are kind of hanging out there as far as funding for projects, including Hawkridge Park, the farmers market area. And until we kind of get some answers on those things when the budget is set, I anticipate we have a work session on that specific thing. Okay, whether it's the farmers market area and Hawkridge Park or just Hawkridge Park, I'll leave that up to you all. But I really do anticipate that that is something that we will be looking at early fall after the budget has been set.
Do I need to answer too? No.
Do you have anything else to answer?
No. No, that covered it. I mean, we just don't have funding for it today.
I thought that you would bring your money and that we could have all that done.
New job. I need a new job apparently. Or win the lottery maybe.
And the lottery, that's
Yeah.
good.
If I win the lottery, and I win a lot in the lottery, I will put something in Hawkridge Park for you.
Okay, okay.
Probably a dog park. How about that? Then I appease 2 people. How about that? Yeah.
And a statue of yourself.
And a statue of myself. We have to rename it. It would become Harris Park. Harris Dog Park. Oh, there's a Harris Park in Lee Summit. Can't be. Harry's Dog Park. That would be it. That would be it right there. Can we do it anyway? Okay. Any more comments? No, we just missed our fastest meeting time, so I guess I'm not in a rush now. But I will move to adjourn tonight's meeting. I have a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Meeting adjourned.